Hey, hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. What experiences did you have as a child that shaped your view of self care? Well, I'm going to share a couple of my experiences with you, and we're going to start that in just a few moments. Hi there. Happy Sunday afternoon. I hope you're well. I'm doing well. It's getting a little cloudy here. It was sunny, but at least the temperature has cooled down a bit. It's in the 70s. It was in the high 80s up until a week ago, and now it's in the 70s. So it's real pleasant here. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. It's just right. Well, today we're going to talk about self care and those experiences that you and I both had when we were younger that shaped our view of self care. But first, I want to remind you that I appreciate your listening and watching me on Sunday afternoons. Share this Stress Talk Live with your friends. Share it because we have an upcoming lineup that you will want to make sure that not only are you watching, but your friends and your family are watching as well. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But also follow me at ML Bailey Consultants. You can follow me on Facebook at ML Bailey Consultants, as well as on Instagram and Twitter. This is where you'll see Stress Talk Live, but you'll also hear more about our podcast, as well as you get to read the blogs that we have on a weekly basis. We have a lot of things going on to help you manage overwhelming stress. So please, please, please follow me on Facebook at ML Bailey Consultants. Now, you may have liked the page. However, now Facebook says they want you to follow me. So, and I want you to follow me too. So, if you liked the page before now, please go back and hit that follow button. Follow at ML Bailey Consultants. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel at ML Bailey Consultants. It's pretty consistent, right? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I always post, or I should say that I also broadcast live to YouTube. So you'll always get to see the the replays, or the posted plays of Stress Talk Live. It's always going to be on ML Bailey Consultants. As I add additional videos, you'll also get notifications of that when you follow me on YouTube. So those were those announcements. Now here's the big announcement. On uh, October 31st, which is next Sunday, we're going to start our Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It series. In the past, I have done this. Um, I've done this a little differently than I'm going to do it this year. This year, Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It. I'm going to have successful entrepreneurs come and visit with me every Sunday, beginning next Sunday, October 31st. These are successful women who are entrepreneurs. Some of them are side hustlers, meaning they have a full time job and they're running their business on a part time basis. We're going to talk about their hacks for managing overwhelming stress. You don't want to miss it. So, beginning October 31st, next Sunday, I want you to start tuning in. And again, share with your friends and your family so that they can tune in as well. You're going to see, again, successful women entrepreneurs who are going to share with you how they deal with stress, especially being in business for themselves and or being side hustlers where they're working a full-time job and they're managing their own business. Whew, that's the big announcement. And you'll be, if you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you're going to hear more about that. And you'll also get a preview of the special guests that I have coming. So let's get into our topic for the day. We're talking about stress and how to manage stress with self-care. You know, when I was a young girl, I think I was about 6 years old, my aunt, I used to spend the night with my aunt, my mom's sister. And my aunt she still is a lot of fun. She's she's just fun to be around. When I was with her, either my brother spent the night as well, or I'd spend the night with my cousin Stella. And we always had a blast when we were at our aunt's house. But on this particular time when I spent the night, my aunt painted my fingernails. I was about 6 years old, and she painted my fingernails. And before she painted them, she let me choose the color that I wanted to use on them. And what's really interesting about it, I thought, is that she allowed me the time to choose the color that was best for me, the color that I wanted. She didn't tell me just pick this one, and she didn't choose one for me. She allowed me to choose the color. And can you imagine giving a 6 year old a choice like that, especially when there were lots and lots of colors to choose from? My aunt always kept a quite a few different colors of nail polish. Taking a sip of tea. And so there I sat trying to choose the best color for me, the color that I thought would look really great on my little bitty fingers. And so she would ask me, she'd ask a few times, are you ready? And I would say, no, I haven't, no. And she'd say, okay. And she'd just walk away and give me some more time and space. She did that several times. And each time she just let me take my time. She'd just say, okay, let me know when you're ready. And when I finally chose the color that I wanted, I told her I was ready. Now, my aunt had nail polish that ranged from white to a deep red. And I decided that I wanted a pink nail. I wanted pink polish on my nail. And as I said, she didn't rush me. She just let me go through my own process for choosing. So when she started painting my nails, she was very, she was, ta- she would talk, she was talking to me, right? And she was very gentle, and she told me, how to take care of my nails. First, she filed them into shape, and she told me how to file them using an emery board. And then when she started painting them, she told me how to use base coat, and she told me how to stay in on the nail. And she also told me, don't touch them until they're dry, or don't let them touch anything else until they're dry, because if you do, they're going to get marred. They'll mess up. So I remember being 6 years old, so excited to get my nails polished for the very first time. And when she told me that, I knew I started fanning my hands and I started blowing on my fingers just to get them to dry faster. I don't know if that worked at all, but that's what I did. So I was excited about it. I was really excited about getting my nails painted. My aunt was very patient with me. And as she was painting my nails, again, she taught me how to do it. And so I was kind of shocked the next day when my mom and dad came to pick me up. I was shocked that my mom was so furious when she saw my nails. She was absolutely furious. She raised her voice at me and she raised her voice at my aunt. Now, I told you that my aunt was really fun to be around. She still is a lot of fun to be around. She really didn't pay any attention to my mom. She talked to her and she was like, "It's no big deal. It's just polish. Why are you so upset?" But for my mom had a reaction that probably had nothing to do with me and had nothing to do with the polish that were on my nails and had nothing to do with my aunt. My mom was probably had a react my mom's reaction was probably based in something else that I had no clue about and my aunt certainly had no clue about. But after that experience, my mom, when I spent the night at my aunt's house, I always painted my nails. Either, as a little girl, 6 years old, my aunt painted them, but at a certain point, she let me paint my own nails. And I thought that was so cool because I could choose the polish and I could paint my nails. And she told me I could paint my nails as often as I wanted, as many times as I wanted while I was there. And she assured me that my mom was not going to yell at me. So I think that they had a conversation about it. Now, there were a few times when I had accidents, like I spilled the polish or I spilled the remover. But every time that happened, my aunt just waved her hands and said, "Don't worry about it." And she helped me to clean up the mess. That aunt is 84 years old now, and she has an active lifestyle. And I mean, she's always on the go. She bowls in two different leagues on 2 days a week, and she's maintained leadership positions in her leagues for as long as I can remember. The other thing about that particular aunt, she still paints her fingernails every Sunday evening. She takes the time before she prepares to go to bed to remove old polish and put new polish on her nails. I think that's pretty neat because my aunt taught me about taking care of myself. She taught me the value of self care. And in doing so, she taught me a big lesson. First, she taught me that I could choose to be kind and loving to my body as well as my mind. And that's really a part of what self care is. She also told me that I could take whatever time I needed to choose the best course of action to take in order to take care of my body and mind. Because taking care of ourselves, nurturing ourselves, is an important aspect of life. The third thing I learned is that when I nurture myself, I feel a sense of control. I feel a sense of control over myself, including my mind, including my body, as well as over my environment. These were lessons that I've not forgotten. although it has taken me a long time to incorporate these lessons into my life and into my lifestyle. How about you? Who was the person who nurtured you? Who was the person who shared um, how you can nurture yourself and the best way to take care of yourself? Now, my mom is 2 years older than my aunt. She is now 86. And as I said before, she was furious when she saw my fingers and how that they were painted. And I didn't really understand why she was so furious about it. I thought they looked really nice. They did look nice. But there was a concern that she had about her 6 year old daughter, her little girl, having painted nails. And I don't really know what that concern was, but now I have an idea about that. And I'm going to tell you a story as to just to give you a sense of what I'm thinking was going on in my mom's mind at the time. For the first 4 years of elementary school, including kindergarten, I had to wear those awful black and white saddle Oxford shoes. I hated those shoes. They were white and they had these black, I don't even know what you call them, like where the strings were. There was like a black, there were, you have to look them up. I'm sure if you're in my age group, you know what I'm talking about. But they were called saddle shoes, and I hated them. They were white and black. I just hated those shoes. They were heavy. I thought they were just so ugly. I just didn't like them. But my mother loved them. She thought I don't know, she thought there was something special about them to her. And so she made me wear them. And she also said that, not only do they look good and they look good on you, they were tough. They were durable. So she made me wear these, what I thought were ugly shoes. And not only did she make me wear them, she made me polish them every Sunday night before I went to bed. Now, think about the contrast: painting nails or painting shoes. That's a pretty big contrast to me. But what I learned is that my mother believed that the appearance of a person's shoes conveyed a message about their character. The appearance of a person's shoes conveyed a message about that person's character. And I learned that because when she she always said that the first thing she looked at when she met a person or when she saw a person was their shoes. And she believed that if a person of good character always kept their shoes in good condition. One of the jokes in our family is that it's a good thing that my dad shined his shoes and had shoes that were in good condition when he met my mom, because if he had not, they probably would not have been married for 55 years until he passed away. So thank goodness he had the foresight to make sure his shoes were shined and that they were in good condition when he met her. So for my mother, having shoes that were in good condition and that were well maintained, she believed that it people would believe that I was a person of good character. Now, you have to understand that We were a Black family living in a suburb of mostly white and ethnic European families. And the reality of the situation is that we were judged by how we looked, in addition to being judged by how we behaved. But the first judgment was based on how we looked. So, for my mom during that time, it was important for her little girl, for her baby, to look a certain way because she knew that the way I looked would impact the way I was viewed and the way I was treated. So every Sunday, although I hated it and although I hated those shoes, every Sunday I would pull out the Hollywood Senai White shoe polish and I would work on those shoes. I would first polish them and then I would buff them so that they were bright and shiny and ready for Monday morning. And occasionally, my mom would polish her shoes too because she wore white shoes to work at the hospital. But what did that teach me? What did that model for me? It modeled something a little different for me. It was a practical approach and it modeled something totally different to me. It modeled that, and the lesson I learned from it is that self-care was a luxury, that we had to take care of everything that we were responsible for before we took care of ourselves. It also modeled that praise comes from meeting the needs of other people. My mother needed for me to look a certain way, and she needed people to view me a certain way. So I had to meet her need. As a little girl, I had to satisfy that need for her. And I'm not saying that was wrong because, of course, I learned great lessons from my mom. She's a beautiful person. She's a lovely lady, and she's very, very gracious. And if you look at her, she does not look or act like she's 86 years old. But that is a but it is something that I've come to recognize, that when we meet the needs of others, we are praised. The third thing I learned was that the look of things matters. It's important in some circles how you look. So, which message do you think I internalized? The first, the message that my aunt modeled for me, or the message that my mom modeled for me? None are bad. I want to emphasize that none are bad, but there is a message that I internalized a lot more than the other message. And that message is the second one, that practically speaking, self-care is a luxury. Now that I am adult, I understand that self-care is a struggle for many people, especially women, because we are practical. We want to take care of all of the other things that matter in our lives. We are taking care of our families, we're taking care of our work, we're taking care of our livelihood, and practically speaking, we often put self-care on hold. I am of the mind that it is not as important to have a self-care routine, because we should be striving. Well, I take that back. Striving is not the word I want to use here. We want to have a satisfying life and satisfying lifestyle. When we have a satisfying life, we have a life that is full of compassion. Compassion is kindness that and well wishes that's extended to someone who is struggling. Once we are able to extend compassion to others, that leads us to having the ability to extend self compassion to ourselves, kindness and well wishes to ourselves in the midst of struggle. We also have the ability to extend loving kindness to others. And loving kindness is basically kindness and well wishes to someone, to others who are not struggling, who are not experiencing struggle. And this leads us to extend to loving kindness towards ourselves, which is extending kindness and well wishes to ourselves when there is no struggle. And so, my belief is that self care is a product of a satisfying lifestyle. When we experience satisfaction in our life, we also have the byproduct or the product of self care. Because in order to experience satisfaction, we must take care of our needs. And to take care of our needs, we need to operate with self compassion and loving kindness towards ourselves. Should I say that again? I'll say that again. Self care is a product of a satisfying lifestyle. And in order to experience satisfaction, we need to have the capacity to extend self compassion to ourselves in times of struggle and loving kindness towards ourselves in times when we are not in a struggle. And as a result, we will experience self care. I believe that a satisfying life comes not when we strive for success as the world around us sees it, success, prosperity, and renown. But a satisfying life comes when we treat ourselves and others with love, kindness, and compassion. And the result of that is we are able to experience self care, because self care is a product of a satisfying life full of compassion and loving kindness. So, hey there. So, that's what I'm thinking today. Ooh, and we're almost out of time. So, I want you to think about those things too. And I want you to drop me a line. Place a comment in the comment box under the comment section under this video. You can do it on YouTube. You can do it on Facebook. You can also do it on Twitter. Just place a comment. What are you thinking about that? I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. You can even share some of your stories about who modeled self care for you. But again, self care comes when we're living a satisfied life, and that comes when we extend self compassion and loving kindness to ourselves. Well, that's all for now. I'm glad you joined me. Remember, don't forget about next week. It's the start of Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It. That's a Marcyline Bailey. Take good care.